How's it going, everybody? In this video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at deploying our first of many shared storage options. We're going to go ahead and deploy a FreeNAS VM. You can go ahead and Google for that. It's a Linux VM that can be used to establish iSCSI, NFS, and other different types of storage capabilities over an IP network, which means that all of your iSCSI hosts can be targeting their storage to the FreeNAS VM. So pretty cool stuff. As a matter of fact, that's how VMware Hands-On Labs does a lot of their stuff. Pretty cool stuff and how it actually ties together. So we're going to go through and set up FreeNAS and all that good stuff. And then in the following video, we're actually going to go configure iSCSI to go through and have its own shared storage. So we'll point our iSCSI hosts to FreeNAS in the following video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and deploy our FreeNAS VM so that we can go ahead and begin doing the iSCSI deployment. So to deploy this, I've already gone ahead and downloaded and copied over the FreeNAS VM. I'm going to show you guys how to actually deploy it. So I'm going to come over here to Home, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this over a little bit. Create a new virtual machine. We're going to go Next. We're going to choose where the files come from. We're going to go to this PC, Documents, and then FreeNAS right there. Click on Open. There it goes. So this is a Linux VM, just so you know. We're going to click on Next, and we're going to go Browse, and we're going to expand D drive. And under Workstation VMs, I'm going to say New Folder, and say SAN. I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to call this SAN as well here. Click Next. Now here's a caveat. When you're deploying this, there's going to be the initial 20 gig hard drive that's going to get deployed. I'm going to click on Next. I'm going to customize the hardware, and I'm going to go ahead and give this guy, I believe it's supposed to run on 8 gigs of RAM, and I'm going to give it 2 procs. Click on that, and then network adapter, the first one, is going to be for management. I'm going to add a second network adapter. And this one's going to be joined to VMnet. I believe it'll be the first one here for storage. VMnet 1 is going to be for storage. VMnet 0 is for management, so on and so forth. And we can verify that by looking at the topology. If we go ahead and just pull this up real quick. You can see that this guy right here is the iSCSI SAN is VMnet 1. So we're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and click on Close and then Finish. Now, one of the things that I have to do is I have to go ahead and edit the virtual machine settings. I need a second drive. So I'm going to come in here and click on Add Hard Disk, because you couldn't do that before you get to this part where the VM is already created. I'm going to click on Next. iSCSI or SCSI drive is good. New virtual machine. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this guy, this is the actual drive that we're going to use for the storage. So I'm going to type in 750 gigabytes in size, and we're going to thin provision this. Click on Next and Finish. Give that a couple seconds. It's trying to create those file folders. There we go. So there we are. So now we have a 20 gig drive that we're going to use to install the operating system on, a 750 gig drive for our iSCSI communication, so our storage area network. I'm going to add one more drive, and this is going to be a 250 gig drive. This will be for our NFS connection. I'm going to click that, Finish, give that a couple seconds to create that, and we'll have our storage squared away. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and then power on this virtual machine. And then we're going to go through the process of deploying our storage appliance and all the good stuff that goes along with that. So let's be judicious. Sure, we'll go with that. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 1 to boot, and it's going to go ahead and boot up. And it's going to go through the install process. This will take some time, obviously, so I'm not going to waste your time by making you watch the install happen. I'm going to go ahead and pause until we are at a point where we can interact. Alright, so here we're going to go ahead and click on here, and as you can see, you can up and down arrow to the different options. We're going to do an install upgrade, and we're going to do the install on DA0 or device A. Now this device here will be our iSCSI communication, and this will be for NFS. I'm going to go ahead and select the 20 gig drive, hit the enter key, and do you want to proceed with the install? Yes. The password, I'm going to use the password we've been using, so capital P @SSW0RD, tab down, same thing there again, hit the enter key, or I'm sorry, tab down to OK, hit the enter key, and we are going to boot via BIOS. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while this is doing its thing. Alright, well, the installation went well, as you can see. It says the installation went according to plan. We're going to go ahead and it says please reboot and remove the installation media. I'm going to hit the click inside of here, hit the enter key, and then we're going to go ahead and down to reboot system. And I'm going to go ahead and right click here on SAN, go down to settings, and on the CD DVD drive I'm just going to disconnect, connect, and click on OK. Which will effectively disconnect the drive. So it's going to go ahead and boot from the hard drive now, which is what it should do, and it's going to do its thing. So we're going to have to do some initial configuration on the FreeNAS appliance once it's completely booted up. If we were to jump over to this guy right here and look in our DNS, we do have a storage area network IP address DNS entry already set up. So we're going to configure the management interface to be this IP address, and then we'll give .25 the IP to the storage area network, so 10.1.2.25. So I'm going to go back over here real quick just so we can see as it boots up. I'm going to go ahead and pause because we'll have to do a little bit of post configuration once the VM is online. Alright, so we're going to have to do a little bit of configuration in here. So I'm going to click in, and it says configure network interfaces, static routes, all that type of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and hit 1 for network interfaces, and then EM0. So EM0, I'm going to go ahead and just select it, and it says remove the current settings. This will cause a temporary loss in connectivity. Yes, I want to do that. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna press 1 again, go to 1, and then I'm gonna say no. And configure DHCP, no. Configure IPv4, yes. Interface name, EM0. And then what IP address do you want to give it? So we're going to type in 10.255.1.25. Netmask is going to be 255.255.255.0. And then the configure IPv6, nope. We've got an IP address now, which is what we really need. And so what I'll be able to do is from here, I'll be able to jump over here, hit the up arrow, and I'm going to be able to ping 10.255.1.25, and we can ping it. So that means if I was to do like a ping san.lab.local, that responds. So I'll be able to open up a tab here and type in san.lab.local, and we'll be able to log into the FreeNAS appliance. So in here I'll put in here admin and the password. This might be root. Yeah, that's what I thought. Root, and then there we go. So we're going to go ahead and save that. So now we at least have, and I'm cheating a little bit. Yeah, you're correct. I am cheating a little bit by configuring what I'm configuring. But if I come down here to network and I say interfaces, I'm going to go ahead and configure this guy as well. I'm going to go ahead and expand this guy out, I'm going to edit its configuration. So I'm going to IP address, in this case here will be 10.1.2.25/24. Click on add. I'm sorry, delete. I just want to go ahead and apply. Okay, now that it's applied, we're in good shape. So I'm going to be managing this particular server, this device from this particular location, but from the local subnet. So we go ahead and apply those changes. Confirm, apply changes. Yes. Okay. I mean, how many? It's a little ridiculous when you get asked 17 times, do you really want to apply config? Now, if I was not local to the server, where I was not on the same subnet, you would need to come underneath static routes and then add a static route, which is the default route, but we don't really need to do that. The next thing we need to do is actually come down here to services. And under services, we're going to turn on two of them. The first one is going to be iSCSI. So we're going to turn it on. And then we're going to say start automatically. So from here on out, it's going to automatically become an iSCSI target. I'm also going to do this for the same thing for NFS and start automatically. All these other ones that are here, you can definitely run. So if you have a scenario where you have FreeNAS deployed or you're running FreeNAS on a device with a lot of storage, guess what? You can use this to be your storage appliance. So what I'm going to do is underneath the iSCSI part right here, I'm going to go to edit or configure, and this is the wizard. So you can configure these individually, or you can click on the wizard up here in the right hand corner, and we're going to go ahead and say the name is going to be SAN, and everything has to be lowercase. And then we have device. We're going to say device, and then what is the device we're going to use? We're going to use DA1, the 750 gig drive, and this is going to be VMware, the extent block. We're going to go ahead and we could adjust this if we want to, but we're going to use VMware. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and click on next. It says what is going to be the portal. So we're going to go ahead and create a new portal, and what is the IP address that you're going to connect to? And we're going to be using 10.1.2.25 on port 3260, and click next. The initiators, I'm going to leave this blank. I don't think we need to specify anything. I'm going to say the authorized network. I don't think anything is necessary here. I don't remember specifically if we need to go ahead and basically whitelist anyone. If we run into any problems with connectivity, I'll be able to come back in here and adjust this. So I'm going to go and click on, I'll type in 10.1.2.0/24 just because, and click on next. And this is the summary of the commands that are going to be allowed to come in. I'm going to go ahead and click on submit, and that's going to push that config down to the VM. I'm going to go ahead and say save, sharing, block shares, and we can go to portals. We have a portal defined. When it comes to initiators, we're going to basically to allow anything from 10.1.2 to come in. Authorized access is pretty much anyone. Targets, we have our target. If we were to come down here and say edit, we could edit our target if we wanted to, but at this point in time, there's really nothing here for us to worry about. Now, I could come in here and add an additional drive to the iSCSI host. So I could take and add an additional hard drive. Not that difficult to do necessarily, but what that would allow me to do is, let's say for example, with this particular extent, which is 750 gig. Extents just mean logical unit numbers, or LUN, which we'll talk about here in a upcoming video. Or LUN, we have LUN ID 0, which means basically the first disk in the array. You can have multiple disks in the array. What that would basically allow you to do is you can scale up your storage if you need to, or you can, which is typically what people will do. They won't give all the storage immediately away to the servers. They'll allow for growth, whether it's in blocks of 10 terabytes at a time or some other scenario. But this will give us a lot of flexibility in terms of how things will come into play. So these are some of the details that you'll need to remember when it comes to how storage works. And I'll talk about this more when we talk about iSCSI in the next video. But because right now we have everything done on the server. So I'm going to leave this one alone because this deploys FreeNAS. And the next video I'm going to talk a little bit about how iSCSI works at a high level. And then we're going to walk through the ESXi components that need to be configured in order for a ESXi host to start leveraging the storage that we're providing. So we'll take a look at that in the upcoming video. But as of right now, this is everything we need to have done and working. So if there's something you would like to see covered that was not covered, or whatever the case might be, let me know in the comment section below. But until next time, guys, take it easy.